been 2 months since your hometown, Eidos, was ripped from its own reality and placed in a new world. The Eidosians are calling it Horizon. Untamed and uncharted, it presents both risk and opportunity for all. Rangers, mages, and warriors all eagerly answer the call. Not all who have gone in search of fame and fortune have returned. There are many dangers lurking in the dark. Horrors from other dimensions, summoned to Horizon as you were. Still, there is hope. There are friendly faces in Eidos, always willing to aid you in your journeys. And in the back of your mind burns the unanswerable question: who brought Eidos to this strange place called Horizon, and why?
Bloater Punch, welcome, baby. We've got Grady sitting in the backstage. He'll come on and help me digest what we chat about and sort of what all transpires here tonight. I want to take this opportunity first and foremost, welcome everyone back to another episode of a Candor Gander with your host Sergeant Filthy McNasty. For those of you wondering whether or not I now work for DCX, I don't. I know I'm a DFK content creator for the most part, but I wanted to take this opportunity to sort of, connect with Bloater, learn more about him. I think one of the pieces, there was something Flu said recently that really resonated with me, especially at inception with any project. You're not so much investing in a project. Yes, there's got to be something in there that you like, but you're investing in a team. You're buying into a team. You're buying into a project because of said team. And really, what I would say is that the team's really sort of earned my attention. Based on the team they've helped build around DCX, between Metas and Sandwich, who I've had before on my show, and Brown, Gent, and Grady, who I consider mentors in this space. They're not the only ones, but there's certainly two of them, two of the ones that come to mind for sure. So they gained my my attention was sort of there. I think the other piece that sort of intrigued me along the way is just sort of hearing their town halls, their conversations, some of their spaces, reading through some of their articles. Some of the Twitter spaces have been really interesting. And really at this point, I think I'm hooked. And maybe you are too. But through this conversation, I don't want to stay hooked. I want to be reeled in. In Bloater. There is an opportunity for a whitelist giveaway. I did realize, and this is for you, Flex, in the Dragons Crossing Discord. I'm not sure where in the world you reside, but right now it's 4:30 a.m. So I thought, hey, let me be fair to you and others like you who maybe can't catch the stream live. Give you an opportunity to participate in a whitelist giveaway as well. So there is, we'll talk more about giveaways here in a second, but for those of you who aren't listening live, feel free to comment below, include your Discord name, your Twitter tag, and tell me what you find interesting about this conversation today. And without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce you. Let's talk a bit, briefly tell me who you are. I think by now many of you may know who you are, but for those of you who don't, give us a little bit about you.
Thanks for having us or having me on. My name's Eric. I'm the president of Dragons Crossing. I'm one of the co-founders along with Baby Punch and Sandwich Punch. I'm 37. I have 4 kids. I work in the tech space for a Fortune 50 company as an analyst. And then I teach analytics at my undergraduate alma mater. And then I run Dragons Crossing.
Full schedule, I think, like many in this space, myself included, not to compare myself to you, but I feel like many of us sort of overextend ourselves, not because of anything than our love for what we do, and really the love of crypto for you, sort of it's shown over time. for anyone wondering whether or not Sergeant can keep a secret, I want to put something up on the screen. You may or may not remember this earlier, but this interview has been well in a year in the making. There was a comment here from May 18th, 2022 at 7:46 p.m. I had asked you whether or not you'd be interested in coming on my show. At that point, and I would say to some degree now I'm a nobody, but I was a bigger nobody then. And you said, yeah, hey, that sounds interesting, but I don't have the time. I'm working on this interesting project. You even told me what chain you were launching on. I'll tell you this much: anyone listening, it wasn't Arbitrum at the time.
Wait, did I say I gave a chain name at the time?
You gave me a chain name. I've redacted.
What was the chain name? I want to hear it. What was the chain name?
Well, you know what? There was this very interesting project at the time called Harmony. It was happening, and you were going to go on building Dragon's Crossing on Harmony. Things have changed.
That does not surprise me. At that time, that was probably the idea.
And thinking a year ago, I'm not surprised either. But we are here today. Things have changed. Tell me, Bloater Punch of 2022. What does you think of Bloater Punch today? And what does you think of the sort of the ambitious project you decided to take on, and sort of what it's into?
Honestly, projects are interesting. I don't think it would be, without having done it, I don't know anyone would have been able to know how much work, effort, sacrifice, and pain that would be involved. Let me put it this way. It's a really good thing that I didn't know how hard it would be, that I went in kind of naive, because it has been tremendously hard. It makes sense to me now that so many people rug in this space, because that's easy, right? Like, you don't have to worry about anything, but doing things right, I feel like, is extremely difficult. And that's the path we're on. And so Bloater Punch 2022 is kind of naive about the process. Bloater Punch 2023 is weary, but focused on accomplishing the task.
I drafted a bunch of questions. I'll try and hit them here quick and dirty, and really highlight some of those ones that really sort of rose to the top. I hope this mic is better than the old mic I was using. Hopefully that's better for you.
Yes, the old mic was bad. This one's good.
Beautiful. See, you gotta learn to pivot on the spot. Seasoned pro, right? Talk to me about your Web3 morals and convictions. I know I've heard Grady talk about that, on many occasions. Not just with Dragon's Crossing, but with other projects as well. And I think any streamer, any content creator. What drove you to want to make DCX, and what drives you to keep building, innovating, and leading that charge when that next crypto bull market arrives? Simply said, put me at ease. I invest in Dragon's Crossing. It booms. You're not running away to Turks and Caicos. You're gonna continue to be here, and maybe you are running away, because who doesn't like a nice island paradise? But the project's gonna be here into however long the community wants it to be here.
So there was like 6 questions in there. I'm happy to answer them. Which one do you want me to answer first?
Well, you know what? And I'll start with, my wife told me you have like quadruple barreled questions. Don't ask 5 questions in once. And I said, I would never do that. And here I am doing that myself.
I like that idea. Probably quadruple barreled. It sounds kind of ominous.
It does. It sounds sexy. Let's start with, tell me about your morals and convictions. I mean, really, what drove you to want to do something? I know you could have easily done this in the Web2 space, and you chose not to. You chose to venture in Web3. Why?
I'm not sure we could do this in the Web2 space for a couple reasons. One, if I pitched traditional investors, no one's going to give me money to make a Web2 game. That space is extremely competitive. I think it's right place, right time. Web3 felt ripe. I was in the Web3 space. I knew people in Web3. Mostly I knew Samich, who knew people in Web3. And so I don't think we could have raised for a Web2 project. I think that our community, our network was very Web3 focused. We were involved in Web3. So part of the reason we did this is because we felt like we saw huge opportunity with the amount of really, really shady, lack of transparency, rug pull, Ponzi scheme projects, and we thought, hey, we could actually do something legitimate. We could do this right. We could bring our industry expertise. We're all working professionals, and we could make something special happen. So that's kind of how we got into this.
And for those of us who may be wondering, I think um, because of what you just mentioned, there are rug pulls out there, and unfortunately, the space is riddled with them in one form or another. I mean, your commitment to continuing the project, it's a passion project. It certainly is. I mean, you're not getting paid. Why else would you do it if you weren't passionate about it? Put us at ease. I mean, your commitment to continue to build. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned this before, but we haven't taken any money yet. So we've been working 14, 15 months. No one on the core team outside of developers has been paid anything. All of our compensation is long-term and project related. So again, yes, are we passionate? Absolutely. We're hardcore gamers. We loved the idea of being able to make our own game. So we're in this for the long haul. If this flops in the first month, then I would have essentially burned a lot of my personal time, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, as would the rest of the core team. So our focus is really long term. Like, this needs to be sustainable if we're going to be compensated, and I think that's the way it should be. I think generally speaking, long-term compensation should be reflective, or compensation should be reflective of the long-term goals of the project. We don't really see that in this space. We see an overwhelming lack of transparency. We see a lot of shadiness. We don't see a lot of what I'm talking about. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, by now, I think we all know that DCX is breaking away from that mold of, bring people in via a DAX or liquidity pool, and then hopefully they stick around because of gameplay. I mean, why choose to break away from that mold? I mean, it's tried and true for many projects. You guys are just doing it entirely different. Why?
I would say it's not. It's tried. I don't know if it's true. Excluding DFK, who's made some huge missteps, but overall is still around, which is very unique and very commendable. Most of the projects who follow that model fail very quickly. DFK was not excluded from some of the frictions from following that model. When you emit the APRs DFK emitted in Joule, and it becomes incredibly difficult to have a healthy token price. And eventually, as we've seen, there happens to be immense sell pressure. So we're not interested in doing a DeFi play, because I think that whole yield farm concept is a Ponzi scheme. I'm not really sure how it's supposed to work long term. I haven't seen it really work long term yet. I guess Joule might be the exception because the price is above what it was at launch. It's just way down for a lot of people who invested later on. But outside of DFK, who's developing, most of these yield farms are just exit liquidity for founders and for early people. That's not interesting, super shady. So that's not our project. Our project is a game. It's a game first. There's no yield farms. There's no single staking. It's participate in the game, play the game. And when you do that, you have opportunities.
No, I love that, and and to be clear, you said it. Yes, it's tried, but is it true? I mean, only under the right conditions, maybe potentially. I mean, you guys are sort of intriguing for that reason. I mean, hey, let's try something different entirely. Pretty novel of you guys. As the head of the project, I'm sure you have a bunch of competing priorities. You have your internal team, your seed investors, prospective players. How do you plan on balancing the needs and wants of the stakeholders?
So one is, the good news is I'm not alone, right? So I would consider maybe the most on my plate, but I have really, really competent people surrounding me. So Sandwich Punch, Baby Punch, Granite, Matez, others, right? There's Brown Gent is fantastic. JB, who's over lore. We have great developers. So I'm not alone, because if I was, this would not work. My highest priority is the product. So I spend most of my time with the developers and with the game play side. Is the game fun? Is the game balanced? Is the game moving along? Are we going to hit our deadlines? That's the majority of my focus. And then I interface with other functional leads. Like when we talk marketing, I interface with Brown Jen. And I'm like, okay, where are we at? Hey, here's some of my ideas. We sync, but Brown Jen is the functional lead for that. I don't want to spend my time thinking about it and burning calories focused on that. I want him, who, by the way, he's better at it than I would be. I want him focused on that. Let me do what I can do best, which is move the game along.
No, I love it. So my next question here is, how do you keep the integrity of the game while at the same time keeping those masses happy? Because it's gonna be hard. I mean, just like anything, it's crypto, it's life, right? You're not gonna be able to make everyone happy. I mean, at your core principles, at your core values, what's leading you? What's your guiding star here?
So number one, we have like two internal mantras. One is do things differently. And and when I say that, I'm talking about the slew of projects who are not doing things differently and failing and or being, engaging in malfeasance and stealing from people. The other internal mantra is game first, or in other words, game has to be fun. So that's kind of our North Star is the game fun? We don't think about it actually in terms of investors. That's not, we think of we see ourselves as a traditional game, right? We're in Web3, but we're a traditional game. So we're not looking for investors. We're looking for players. And we have a prize model, and we want people to buy our NFT, which if you think about the analog to Web2 would be like buying a copy of the game. The cool part though is in Web3, we're letting the people who buy our Genesis Mint control the entire hero supply indefinitely going forward. That's not something that would be like buying Elden Ring and then you got to control who played Elden Ring going forward. That's kind of novel. It's unique, right, to Web3. And so that's why I think that's where the magic happens. We're not going to be more fun than Elden Ring, but I think there's certain mechanics in place like prizes and like this idea of controlling your hero, having ownership over your hero and controlling the hero supply indefinitely. That's exciting. So that's why I think it's unique.
No, it certainly is unique. I mean, my next question here, and it was something you would talk about a lot during Inner Grove. It's something I would bring up myself, and it would come up. But there's this concept where you have a brilliant developer, the lead of a project, who's not only developing, but he's the keeper of that mission, vision, and those values of that project. Walk me through sort of some of how the team's built. I mean, let's say life happens, you just can't be present. How's the team built to that, rather than sort of leaning on you exclusively to sort of run this project? The team, while yes, that I'm sure you'd be missed, but the team would function without you because they're structured in such a way that they're not sort of relying on you being the keeper of everything Dragon's Crossing.
Well, two things. One, in full transparency, there is a huge amount of weight and pressure on me personally. However, the good news is you have incredibly competent people. So if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, other people could step up. God forbid, right? I don't want to get hit by a bus. But like I'm thinking of Sandwich Punch and Gravy or Granite and Brown Jen and Baby Punch. And these are people who are incredibly competent. So yes, there's a huge amount on me, but and by the way, they're still doing a ton themselves. But what I'm saying is this isn't like a one-man show. You've got really, really smart people in a room working. And if something happened to me or if I was indisposed, there's definitely competence and skill set available to step up. That's one piece of it. The other piece of it on the developer side is we have a very seasoned developer team. So our front-end developer runs like a massive dev team in his full-time job at a Fortune 100 company. And then our back-end developer, D, is a seasoned industry veteran. So there are times where I'll have meetings and I'll just say, hey, D, can you run the dev shop today? Like when you guys meet, like I'm not going to be able to be there. You know what you need to do. We'll sync later. So there's a lot of competence. It's not like one person, plugging all the holes. We've got a really great team. You mentioned Flu's idea, which is not a unique idea, but it's very true, which is you don't invest in the project, you invest in the team. A lot of VCs think that way, right? They've got to be sold on the founder. And I think one of our competitive advantages, which is hard. It's trite because it's easy to say I have a great team. But if you got to know these people, I think you would see, and maybe you've already gotten a glimpse through our community interactions, there's some really, really competent people around here in the DCX group. And so that's a huge deal. We've been able to weather incredibly difficult storms already because we have a super competent team.
And your comment brings up a couple questions. You bring up the concept of community. I love DFK, and I think at the core of DFK is that community. You may not be able to replicate something like that, because to replicate a community, for example, just sort of hard with any project. But how do you intend to emulate such a great community within your own space, within sort of your just your environment, your project? I mean, how do you drive that? Any vision or sort of maybe anything you'd share on that?
I don't know if I have a perfect answer for that. I will say the Bull Run communities made me uncomfortable. They were very cultish. You couldn't ask questions without being like stoned in the town square. So I don't want to run that kind of shop, right? I want to run, it's like, think of it like a normal business that's operating in Web3, where you get to see the founder, you get to see the core team. We're constantly engaged with the community. They're allowed to ask questions. We make mistakes, we correct them, we drive towards our goal. Like that's the kind of interaction and community I hope we have, where it's more healthy, it's more transparent, it's less like hero worship. There's no one saying wag me or number go up in Gen Chat. Like, I want to avoid all of that.
No, perfectly acceptable. No, I get it, right? It's about cultivating the right sort of community, not just a community. I completely get that. Speaking about, cultivating the right sort of community, safety, security, it's quintessential to any successful venture. Let me ask you this. I want to hear how you plan on protecting yourself, the team and the project specifically, from bad actors in this space. Not so much hacking and sort of that sort of, I'm sure you guys are taking it, but how do you protect yourself and the team? Someone comes up to you and say, hey, Bloater, I want to be part of the team, I want to be a dev, you're scaling up. How do you ensure that the integrity of the team sort of stays consistent despite that growth?
Well, that would be a really, really good problem to have. So I like talking about this, right? This is like a fantasy mode where we've succeeded beyond our wildest dreams and we're just like shooting up, right? That's the scenario I'm addressing. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Love it. I love living in that headspace. I need to live there more often. So one thing we learned really early, okay, and we paid a very high price, is you have to hire smart. So we've made some bad hires and it almost tanked the project, like single-handedly, okay? And we worked through that, and that was some of that competence I was talking about. We have some really fantastic people. So I would say overwhelmingly, like I learned some really hard lessons about, like, we thought we had some right people, so we moved quickly, and that was like catastrophically bad. So to answer your question, if we were in this situation where we're growing really quickly, we had these additional needs, to me, I'd much rather move slower and maybe lose a little momentum than move too fast and then hire kind of the wrong person or people. That could be, again, catastrophic. So I'm really leery about bringing people in because I just know one bad egg can really sour the entire project.
Right. No, absolutely. No, I'm glad you have that in mind, because it is very important. And you're so right. It just takes one person to sort of ruin everything for everyone. Let's focus on gameplay here, 'cause I know we have you for a few more minutes. In terms of gameplay, I play games, but I'm not a gamer, and there's a distinction, and it's an important one, especially if you ask gamers. What inspired what inspired this specific game? I mean, talk to me about the inspiration. Where did you pull that from?
So I saw a thing in chat, by the way. Sergevskini said, would love to
Yes.
see even static beta testing screenshots of gameplay stuff would be huge. Okay, so that's already available. So we have shown gameplay. Grady is producing gameplay, and I'll do a live demo like on our next town hall. Like there's, we could show you, it's essentially an old school RPG with kind of really fancy art, music, voice acting, sound effects. But ultimately, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons old school RPG where you're getting gear, you're leveling up, you're itemizing, and you're fighting monsters and going on quests. That's the game loop. So, sorry. So, what was the original question? Was
Yeah,
about?
yeah, about what inspired this specific game. I'm sure you pulled concepts from many games, but I mean, I see a little bit of D&D, for example, but I'm sure it's not just exclusively D&D. What sort of came into this?
So if anyone who's ever, I don't know if, again, you said you're not a gamer, so these titles, and again, I'm 37, which I know isn't super old, but like I was born into like Nintendo Mario and I wrote it from there. So like Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate are isometric old school RPGs. This is not an isometric RPG, but I borrowed a lot of elements like the inventory and turn-based combat and just like the feel from some of those games.
Okay, that what and the RPG aspect of things. I mean, sort of. I think quintessential to RPGs is really good lore. Who's developed that lore, and how did that come together? I'm sure you guys didn't just take a napkin and sort of write something down and say, "Hey, you know what? Let's put this together." I'm sure there's a lot of work and effort that went there. Tell me about how that came together.
So I'm a published, published is probably too strong of a word. I self-published 3 fantasy novels on Amazon. One of them did pretty well. It was my first one. It sold 5,000 copies. That is to say, we really like reading fantasy and we like writing fantasy lore. So myself and my brother wrote the majority of the lore. And again, we read a lot of fantasy. We write fantasy. So we felt pretty comfortable coming up with our own narrative.
Is it safe to say you're pulling concepts from those books you've written?
No, I think I'd like to think they're original ideas, but I'm just saying it feels fantasy. And again, there is a lore behind. So when you play the game, you're going to go on certain quests and you're going to learn. The lore is voice acted by a NPC named Acheron. Okay. Acheron's a super powerful dude who's kind of your guide, kind of pseudo guide, and you're asking him questions and he's answering questions about the lore, about why are you in this place called Horizon? What are you doing there? Why are you going on these quests? Why are you killing these monsters? He's kind of guiding you. So yeah, the lore I think is huge. It's an integral part of any successful game.
I'll ask you a few more questions. I know we're short on time. I have to ask you. I was very much impressed. I'm big on sort of first impressions. You get one and you're done. That trailer, that's a fact, right? That trailer was very impressive. I mean, I presume that speaks to the entirety of the project.
Yeah.
What you it's so interesting to me that you guys took the effort, the energy to sort of hit that hard. Tell me about sort of the concept about sort of where did you guys get these actors? I mean, how did that all come together? The music, the artists. Where'd you guys pull that from?
Yeah, it's overwhelming. So that's me coordinating with a contractor I found in the space to cut the production together. I wrote the script. I hired the voice actor through Fiverr. I coordinated with it's like 5 different pieces and parts, and that's just one trailer, right? So there's so many elements and moving parts, which is why if you're thinking about doing your own project, don't. Okay, like save yourself the suffering. We're here, we're excited about it, but I just think that it's a colossal effort. That's one element, that's one trailer, and it was super resource intensive, right? We wanted to do it right. I think it snaps. I think it, to your point, in terms of first impressions, I love that trailer. I think it turned out phenomenal. Multiple rounds of feedback, by the way. The team sees it. We gave our feedback. We actually changed the art. We originally had a different version of NFT art, and we swapped everything out, which was super disruptive to the game itself, but to that trailer as well. We had to swap all the art in. I mean, it's intense.
I'll leave you with this question, and then we'll bring Grady on. I I think it's the idea of anyone who's in this space sort of make this their dream job and sort of leave their fiat job behind and sort of do this full time. Is that sort of your game plan in the future? Are you thinking, hey, big picture, I love crypto, I love this game, and if it blows up and it goes in the right direction, like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I'm skeptical that it would require me to be involved full time, and I'm also, again, having intimate knowledge of the tokenomics and the way the game's structured. I don't think it could or should really be able to support a full time staff. So I don't know, it's wonky. It's a wonky thing. I think it could work really well as is, but we're going to tackle it as it happens. Like if there's additional needs, we'll address that. But I'm really focused on ensuring that the tokenomics are stable before we're paying anyone from the treasury, right? We want to make sure it's really in a good place before we're handing out tokens to team members as part of their salary on top of their vesting portion. So I'm really leery about that. I know we're at time. Is anyone in the chat? I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the chat who doesn't have a whitelist code yet. Like obviously, Crypto Grady's in the chat. He has a whitelist code, I think. So is there anyone in chat who does not have a whitelist code yet?
Sticks, Dags, I'm looking at you guys. Do you guys have codes? We'll wait here a minute, and while we get those, responses to that, I know there's a bit of delay. Maybe I can end with any alpha. Dags got two. Serge, he doesn't have one. He wants one. He's asking good questions.
All right, so here's my thing.
Cujo doesn't have one. Let's give Cujo one too, if you're up for it.
Okay. How do we do this? Let's think. Cujo. I guess. I guess Sergey and Cujo were here. They're engaged. I'm down. If Cujo and Sergey will type their Discord ID into the chat, I will send you both a whitelist code after this call.
And before you leave, please, please ask the Aladdin question again, just for me. I want to keep that in perpetuity and sort of just reminisce. What was the question?
So what happened was I was running Inner Grove. And by the way, Sandwich, he was there on the call. He shouldn't be commenting Aladdin, right? But anyway, he knows better. I was facilitating the Inner Grove, right, with Baby Punch and Sandwich Punch. And I usually did a trivia, and I forgot that I did an Aladdin question the last time. I think it was Robin Hood. I think Aladdin is wrong. We have to go back. And it wasn't thrice. It was once. I did it once, and it was Robin Hood. I think we're misquoting things. We've botched the history. But anyway, I asked the same trivia twice, 2 weeks in a row. And so everyone was like, what the heck? And there was immediate responses. And I felt like a total idiot. And then maybe there was a thrice. I'm going to ask Sandwich Punch to bring it up. I know he wants to spend his Friday pulling up that footage. So all that to say, I asked the same question multiple times, felt like a total idiot. So,
Sandwich, I can't believe I'm losing a rug. I guess that was the quote. Any alpha you want to drop before I let you go? Because I'd be foolish to not even ask that question.
Oh, any alpha. I feel like we've dropped so much. It's like I don't even remember what I've said and what I haven't said yet.
Well, I'm catching you late, so maybe.
Okay, here's alpha. I don't think I've said this.
It.
It's not that exciting, but it's kind of cool. So there's 5 zones in the game, okay? But only zones 3, 4, and 5 have a boss because the way we structured it is zone 1 is the simplest, okay? Then you go to zone 2 and we add a daily quest, and then you go to zone 3 and we add a boss. So zone 1, just normal questing. Zone 2, normal questing with a daily. Zone 3, normal questing, daily quest, boss. And then that model continues for 3, 4, and 5. Except in zone 5, there's a zone 5 boss, but then there's the game boss in zone 5. So zone 5 has 2 bosses.
And remember, folks, don't die. It's important.
Don't die.
Well, thank you very much, Bloater. I want to really thank you sincerely for taking the time to chat. I know I can only imagine you're just so swamped with just everything, and then add kids and family into that, and it's a whole nother mix. With that said, I'll bring Grady up here in a minute, but any parting words before I let you go, Bloater?
Yeah, it's not game first, DeFi second, Cujo. it's game first, no DeFi, essentially. So just wanted to clarify that as well. No, thank you for having me on. This has been super fun. Let's get Cujo and Sergey whitelist, whether it's Grady or whether it's in the Discord. Let's make sure we get them whitelisted. And this has been fun. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty, Bloater, we'll stay in touch. I look forward to more. Grady, the man, the myth, the legends coming on. Appreciate it, Bloater. Feel free to drop off.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, baby. Let's go.
Grady.
Let's
Grady,
go. Cujo.
Grady.
I got you guys. Cujo and Sergi.
Yes.
I got you for those 2 whitelist spots. Let's connect Twitter or Discord or whatever. Okay.
Grady, I made you something.
Oh.
I made you something, and it took me way too much time, but it's special. I think you like it. Can I show it to you? I'm going to show it to you. It's a video. It's a video. It's a Pervy Sage music video.
Let's
In
go.
your life. If anyone ever needed a music video, it was Grady. So if you're here, if you're watching, you're in for a treat, because watch for those transitions, watch for the beat drops. I mean, I took my time with this one. Before I show it, I do want to call out Dragon Tales. Is that who made the song? Grady?
Oh yeah. Dragon Tales. Yeah. Yeah, Dragon Tales, aka DFK_Tales on Twitter.
So huge shout out. I had asked Grady for the song. I said, I need your song. I didn't ask you for what. You just gave it to me, and you'll see it and you'll like it. I promise you. Let's hit that video.
Baby, let's go.
And everyone's been telling me like, Grady, you got to be more professional. We cannot call Workhorse by his previous name. It's not going to be received well. They're even threatening to like kick me out of here, right? And so my response to that was,
baby, like we're going to be going to YouTube and doing a stream in a second. So like a bunch of those people are probably in the chats right now. Goose gang in the house.
That's right.
Gang in the house. Gang in the house.
Oh.
Gang in the house. Gang in the house. Gang in the house.
Baby.
Gang in the house. Gang in the house. Gang in the house.
Right here. You guys are in the house now. Baby. Yeah. Baby. Woo! 10 out of 10. Let's go. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you that. I want to see that more often. I want to see it everywhere. I need to see it on Twitter. I need to see it at clubs. I need to see it at 3XP. I need to see it everywhere, Grady. If I told you I listened to that song, watched that video for at least 2 hours straight, I'd be lying, because it's probably more. I just enjoyed this song, and I had it stuck in my head when I tweeted out, "Hey Grady, hey Dragon Tales, I've got this song stuck in my head. I can't get it." This was my way of getting it out, and oh boy, was it awesome! I hope you guys liked it. I hope you liked it. It Beautiful. Was too short, Jags. Yes, Dragon Tales, please make an extended version of that song.
Yes.
And I will say, Dags, that song would have been even shorter. I took some creative liberties and extended it out just a little bit. Yes, Dragon Tales, call to action. Please make me a longer song, and I'll make a longer video.
I love it.
I love
you know what? I'll do a YouTube. I'll put it on YouTube and just let it repeat. like I did the other.
Chozo, you were here for the exclusive video premiere.
Mm.
You guys should all feel lucky.
Dude.
And boy, I mean, I have that song on loop to say the least.
I was also here for your exclusive video premiere when you did your intro video for the first time, baby, which is fire sauce. I think I was here the first time you did it.
I gotta show you this. Every time I do a stream, I promised myself that I would make it just a little bit better every time. I could not steal this clip from one of your videos. So let's hear it.
He's filthy. He's nasty. He's Sergeant Filthy McNasty. Yeah, baby.
You are forever gonna be part of my streams in one way or another, whether or not you're there. I'm sorry. I hope you're okay with that. I should have asked for permission, but
No, you
hey,
shouldn't
guess
have.
what?
You never have to ask for permission. You just do your thing, baby. I love it. He's filthy. We need to make a song about Sergeant Filthy McNasty, baby. We gotta hit up Dragon Tales, DFK Tales, baby. We gotta make it happen. Let's go.
Please, it would make me the happiest person alive. And I'll add to this. You know, I just maybe we could fit this in somewhere. Sticks intern made me a quote. It was something to the effect of, I've got lots of quotes too. They're just bad quotes. What can I say?
Ooh.
Anyhow, so maybe we fit that in. Whether it happens,
it's got to be like, he's filthy, he's nasty, he's Sergeant Filthy McNasty, baby. Filthy, he's nasty, Sergeant Filthy McNasty, baby. Let's go. We got to somehow make a beat with it. So let's brainstorm here, guys. Let's go.
Brainstorm for sure. No, listen, Grady. There's so much was said by Bloater. I know you, unlike you're part of the team. You're officially part of the team. Gameplay. It sounds like you're working on a video. What can you tell us about gameplay so far?
Okay, so it's awesome. Here's the thing. The problem is I don't want to bother the devs because it's really obvious they're working 7 days a week, like all day, every day, all night, every night. Okay, so it's like I can't even hardly like communicate with them. They're so busy. So even I'm actually just blown away that he's still doing all these streams, that Bloater Punch is still doing all this, because his stress level is so high, and which is really apparent to me. Okay. It's like, and so I was like really adamant. I need gameplay to show the world the game. Like, that's the biggest, most important thing. We need to be doing that. You know, I was all over him about it. Well, in order to make that work, for it even to be possible, he had to make like a separate module thing game for me. Okay. Specifically. And then one for Doug. And he did one for Brown Jen, I think, too. Okay. And so that just took time away from what they're already doing. Okay. And so then, and they're like on different blockchains, you know, they were like testing different blockchains at the time. And so, and so there was like little bugs, like such as I'm saying, look, my hero's quests aren't resetting every day. And he's like, well, yeah, they are. And so I'm like, and then Baby Punch always gets sucked in the middle of it. Okay. And so then it's like, I hate to bother them. And so like what they're seeing isn't necessarily, it's like they're developing all day, every day, and they have their own thing, but it's like different than what I have. So they have, and so anyways, that's been the delay. But now we got, I think, all the bugs sorted out. We're going to do, I was literally on the phone all day and all night today.
Wowzers.
All the way leading up to while this started, I was still on the phone. So it's like, dang, but I'm going to get with Kong and Doug, and they also don't want me just to go live and do it. They want to see it first, and then we can put it out there. So we got a video editor with Kong. Doug and I and Kong together, we're going to get in there and do it just as if we're just like any one of you guys, part of the community, jumping in there. We don't know what the hell we're doing, but we know enough now to navigate around and kind of show even the bugs, you know, of like, we know how to navigate and do stuff in the game to where we can do a video, kind of help show how I think it's going to be addictive, fun, addictive game. The strategy, the RNG behind it. And so because these daily contests or seasonal contests that are coming is going to be a super fun aspect of it, to see your name on the leadership board. And you don't want to make the wrong move or you get knocked down in the contest. You also want to keep, like, you get a summoning shard, but you want to keep going on your quest. Okay, that's going to be a debate, because you know this has value. Should you just end it for the day? Well, if you just end it for the day, you get your summoning shard, but it might mean you don't go as far. But if you keep going, you might die. You might get a critical hit and boom, and then you lose it all.
You got to talk to me about this. What's been your favorite parts of horror? What's intrigued you so much? I mean, for me, not having played the game, I think the thing that's most interesting to me that I'm looking forward to is that lore, the voice acting, the
Freaking
art.
awesome.
I mean, that's all I have to look forward to right now, because I haven't played it. I haven't really seen
Right.
a deep dive into it. What are you liking about it?
So the lore and the sound effects, all that is awesome, but I want to, you know, show how fun the game's going to be. That's like my number one priority. And I won't be able to obviously show the seasonal contest. So I think that will be such a dynamic part of it. And then as we go along, you're going to have to learn the monsters and what they're good at versus your specific hero and what your hero's good at, and determine whether or not you even want to fight the monster at all. You might be better off trying to flee away from that monster because you know it's not the right matchup. I still haven't, I haven't gotten to play the game much. I haven't gotten to do it, but we're ready now to do a video. And all three of us together playing and helping each other along. Because a lot of times when I play, I'll actually call Doug and we'll be playing together on the phone. And just like we'll be because he's run into bugs that I wasn't running into at all, like the opposite. And so, so I know they actually put some focus and time into that this week so that we can actually do it now. So I haven't even followed up with it since. So it's been a good 5 days since I've even been in and I don't want to put out a video until we're ready to do that. But it's going to come. And then after the launch, when we have the contest, so much of it, I think the fun aspect of it will be the contest part of it. But what is also going to be fun is learning the strategy and how to play your skill points versus the monsters, and what works best against certain monsters that you're going up against, what doesn't work well, and knowing when to flee, when not to flee, knowing so you get items too. And like I had a couple legendary like a legendary cap and a legendary sandals or something that helps him with his agility or whatever. Just learning all of that. I don't have a clue. They're purposefully not telling us anything. They want us to just get in there and figure it out. So we're just like another person in the community. So
I think what I'll say is I appreciate the fact that you are taking the time and effort to develop not a live demo of the game. I see the allure in that. I get that. That would be interesting too. But I really like the idea of a sort of a video that's been sort of like, I just want to see the gameplay itself.
Yeah.
I know there's probably going to be some this and that, and maybe I hit the wrong button, or I hit refresh, or I bumped the internet connection. You just don't need any of that, and I appreciate that, because I know doing live videos, as well as I mean, everything happens. I jumped on here and I had a bad mic. I kid you not, every episode it's something else, and I know you've seen that as well. Yeah, I think of some of the interviews you've done where there's some technical difficulties that happen outside of any of our control. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's the luxury of being live. You're up, you open yourself to certain things.
Yes. Yeah. And so definitely for sure, the day this game launches, I will be live all day playing the game. You can take that to the bank. The day, and I'll be going live every day, probably 7 days a week at first. And then most days forever, I plan on going live every day, where it's like a daily AMA for people to come live. You'll be able to come on the show with me and talk, ask questions. I'll be answering questions in the chat, and all the feedback I'll be taking right back to the team every day, all the time, nonstop.
I have to ask you, Grady, because I know you and I had some conversations leading up to your decision to join the team. I know you thought harder on that.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think that's important for everyone to know. You didn't just wake up one day and say, "Hey, you know what? I think I want to do this, and I'm going to jump on it." You may be impulsive, and I don't know that for a fact, but I know for a fact you asked around. You asked those people whose opinion, and I think, I don't know, I could be wrong. I think you valued my opinion because you asked, for my opinion.
yes.
And I'm sure you asked for many others' opinions too.
Yep.
And
I kept going back and forth.
You've made the decision. You're knee deep. You jumped in. I mean,
Yeah.
how appreciative are you of that opportunity? I mean, it's been exciting. I think we're seeing a level of Grady who's like, hey, you know what? I have an opportunity to not just be involved in a project, be involved at inception. I mean, that's pretty unique.
I know. And so it's helped actually bring me alive even more. So the number one thing I look for, okay, is the core values of the team and what was essential. So it took me weeks, by the way, to make this decision. And at first it was just like pie in the sky, probably won't happen. And even after I started getting hope, like, whoa, this might actually happen, then I would go to bed some nights and be like, nah, it's probably not going to happen. Like so many nights that happened on and off, on and off, on and off. And then, so first of all, my core values have to align 100% in sync with their core values, which for the most part bleeds obvious. It's phenomenal. Okay. So it's so funny. I love how Bloater Punch, even articulates it. Let me translate what Bloater Punch is trying to say here. Like when he
Let me hear it. Tell me.
Yes. So he's when he says things like he's talking about other projects having ponzonomics, and I would, for myself, I probably use a different term, but I totally understand where that's like something that's deep and hardcore for him. So he talks about all these different things. The translation here, let me translate for you, boys and girls. Let's go. Is that he wants to be phenomenally awesome. He wrote books, okay, about lore and gaming, okay, and stuff like that. His heart has been so deeply entrenched into this, and his heart was deeply entrenched into crypto, and he saw all the crap that goes on. Before I came into DeFi Kingdoms, I was in at least 50 different gaming projects that all went to zero.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about that. I've only been involved in DFK as a GameFi project. You've touched many, and
I was following Hustle. I was following Alex Becker and buying up all the coins that they would talk about. It just degen away.
And DCX is different because
okay, so he's talking about having something sustainable that's not inflationary, where the team dumps on your head. Like the team's promoting something and then dumping on it, and just having also NFTs where it's the value and of the NFT in the game is sustaining itself. He wants something long-term, long-lasting. He's got vision for years and years down the road of what this could turn into. He's wanting it to be awesome. He's in every way possible. So much so that they won't even play the game themselves. Like, they all will have a Genesis hero. We're all going to have a Genesis hero. Okay. But they're not going to be able to play. They can't even go quest their Genesis hero and get a shard, for example, and get stuff with it and then sell it. They're not going to do it. Why is that? Why is that?
I suspect what they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid the perception that they've got insider information. They're going to take your money. It's going to be unfair. They're trying to strike these things out of the park without sort of, even becoming an issue.
100%. They want to be so above and beyond to a fault above board in everything they do. It's like his why that's driving him. He wants to just be an freaking awesome project that's going to last, sustain itself, and be really fun to play. Simple. That's also easy to access and play for easy adoption for Web 2 people, other people, and gamers outside of crypto. He wants to make it as easy as possible to just jump in and play without too many hurdles, too many things. That's like his lane that he's carving for himself. That's just, and it's not that anything else is necessarily right or wrong. Like DeFi Kingdoms, for example, is in a little bit of a different lane. I'd say the core values very much align. Okay. But it's a different scenario of what they're in. So it's like apples and oranges a little bit. DeFi Kingdoms, I think, is doing everything right as well, as best they can. They've even said, regarding the tokenomics, that was one of their mistakes. Bolin said it right on the show. And so they fixed that. Look at the tokenomics with Jewel. Look at the tokenomics with Crystal. We've already got, I think it's up to 1.6 million Crystal burned, more than Jewel. It's outpacing Jewel is the Crystal burning,
which was very impressive to me. But you hit the nail on the head. I mean, they're trying to take all these lessons learned, these lessons that they've learned along the way from other projects, and not just DFK. I mean, every other project out there. I think what you bring to the mix, and I suspect maybe others as well. I think Flu, because I know he's been involved in different projects as well, and I'm sure some others as well. You guys bring the perspective of, there are other projects, and here's maybe where they went wrong. Here's why they're not around anymore. Here's why people don't participate in that, in those communities anymore. Let's take those lessons and implement them into this project and try and make it better, right? Is it going to be perfect? Is it going to be, free of any issues? Probably not. Are they going to pivot? I'm sure they are, but they are taking these lessons, they're implementing them. They're not going into this blindly. Talk to me about that. I mean, what are you liking specifically? Maybe a thing or two that just sort of just jumps to mind.
Well, and another thing, like he talks liquidity pools. I don't think the liquidity pools are wrong or being a DEX is wrong. And I don't think he's trying to say that either. Okay. I think DeFi Kingdoms is doing it right. They're just in a different lane. And they've had to learn things the hard way on the tokenomics and things themselves, okay? And there's nothing wrong with being a DEX and then being a game and doing all these things. It is more difficult for new people to come in and play, right? And so that's part of the fun of it, really, even of being a content creator. We can show all the mountains of things that can be done in this game already right now, okay? And it's not even really out yet, okay? But it's just like drinking through a fire hose, learning all the phenomenal things going on with DeFi Kingdoms. This is a lot different. It's a lot more simple. He's just taken the DEX and a lot of the complexity of starting to play the game out. So your average Joe can just come in and buy an NFT and play the game. It's just simple, keeping it simple. That's his focus. So, and they're going to make that as user friendly and simple as possible. That's
and
part. Yeah.
I was gonna say, let me throw this at you because I'm thinking, the more I hear, the more I listen, I'm almost looking at it different. Yes, it's a game, but as I think about it, what I'm more intrigued in, I'm not buying into a game project. I'm buying into the lore intrigues me. The
The
lore is
lure. So you're a
interesting to me.
lure guy. I
I
love.
I I am. I mean, especially if he's got that experience. It's not like he just woke up one day and say, "Hey, I'm gonna write a story." So
Yeah.
anyone can write a story. A good story is hard to write and tell. And that's the piece where I'm sort of like, hey, you know what? I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I want to know more.
It's
They
phenomenal.
put the they've put the work and effort to hire all the right people as far
Yep.
as the voice actors, the artists,
The
the
artist,
you name it.
you got it. You got it. And so, and I would speak to this, Sergi. I think that Dragon's Crossing will set a standard in some ways. Like I already think DeFi Kingdoms is setting tons of standards of how to function as an ethical, long-term sustaining game. Okay, but it's like apples and oranges here. So it's like they came a year and a half ago. Frisky Fox, it was just like his head was spinning. He didn't even necessarily intend it to be an esport level game when he started DeFi Kingdoms. That wasn't necessarily his intention, but that's what it's like morphed into now. All kinds of things have changed there. It's a different, and he brought on Dreamer along the way. He brought on Hubert along the way. He brought on Beetledude along the way. Okay, and these guys. So it's a little different, and I think he's going to set a standard as far as sustainable crypto gaming. This is like how to do it, how to succeed.
And I'm sort of I joke around, but I think it's important. Simple and easy. I mean, it's simple and easy. I think that's what's intriguing to me. I can't remember who it was. It may have been Serge or Chozo here on in chat who said, "Hey, you know what? I would love to bring my friends into a gaming project, but some other gaming projects may be a bit complicated to explain and have them understand because it's just there's so much going on." This seems easy enough to sort of learn in maybe an hour and sort of run with it,
Yeah.
whether or not you're in crypto.
Yeah. I mean, you'll literally be able to we'll show you. You'll be able to buy up an NFT and just go play. That first tile that he talked about is super easy. You just like breeze right through it. And you're just like figuring things out as you go. And then you realize, oh, I've got equipment. So I can add equipment to my guys and they do different things. And there's different rarities for the equipment that you get. Okay. And then as you play, you'll just kind of figure it out as you go. And it's going to be fun. It will be an opportunity to make money. Okay. Because if you win, you know how he talks about there's winners and losers in the competition side of things, but then you'll have the chance to get spell books or skill books, which I haven't even ever seen a skill book yet. Haven't ever gotten one. The summoning shards in the demo that I have, you get it every single time you find a monster, and then we summon a new hero, and that's how I was able to play, just get a new hero. Okay, and then I ran out of like testnet tokens, just things like that, just along the way. And it's like we couldn't use. I don't even know how the hell to get the testnet tokens. Like they had to get them for us, and just stuff like that. Okay, and it's like the lowest thing on their priority, and so I'm like badgering them. I'm like annoying them. Okay, but how it's going to work in the real world is you'll just be able to come in, buy an NFT, and play right away. And as you play, you'll just start figuring out how to play as time goes.
I've got to ask you, Grady, because you're a content creator. I mean, for anyone who's either an existing content creator or who's maybe interested in creating content specific to DCX, the gameplay. Do you see sort of a space room for people to sort of today we're gonna jump on, we're gonna play for an hour. I know you're gonna do that. I know you said you're gonna do that, but do you see where it becomes you envision droves of and maybe not even droves, but content creators maybe pivoting and sort of taking on DCX as the project they may be interested in covering. I know I'm doing the stream, but the question I have is, do I foresee myself doing other DCX streams? And I don't know. I don't know right now because I've not seen the product
Yeah.
full fledged like you have. I mean, seeing what you know, knowing what you know, what's your take on that?
Yeah. So for sure. Oh man, I think there'll be lots of influencers jumping on. I've got some big announcements that's going to be coming. I've got some good stuff in the works, baby. Big stuff with my connection with a lot of other influencers out there. I think the gym hunters that, by the way, we got this massive monstrosity of a giveaway happening that the gym hunters just ponied up even more. So DCX
I saw that.
Okay, they're giving away an actual Genesis hero that's like a Gen Zero. I mean, I foresee the Genesis heroes having a similar value to the Gen Zeros of DeFi Kingdoms. Pending that both projects succeed moving forward, I think they'll be similar. Okay, and then on top of that, okay. Okay, they're giving away a Genesis hero. They're giving away 10 whitelist spots and 20 summoning shards. Monster giveaway. Then on top of that, okay, on my giveaway, 3 whitelist spots, and that might increase. So on my giveaway, the difference is the people in the giveaway are going to win. Most people who actually enter and take all those steps are actually going to win.
Who's the individual who's also giving weight tokens on top?
Yes, because we're going to have so many winners in this. That is Bit Shaman, baby. He's got 76,000 Twitter followers, and he's retweeted, and he's just adding to the giveaway and tweeted it out again. Okay, today he's giving away $100 worth of weight token to 3 different people. And he's already sent it to me. He sent me 800 weight token. And since then, weight has come up. So that's even increased. So 800, okay, divided by 3. So that's 267 weight token, we'll say. 267. And where is weight at right now?
Man, that's a
I think when he bought it, it was at 32 or 34 cents, and then boom, it pumped right after he bought it.
See, I gotta look at the at the right way. Oh boy, it looks like we're at 36 cents.
I got it here. I got you, baby. Let's look here. Okay, weight at the moment 35.16 cents. So that times 0.35165. Okay. Well, anyways, it's roughly $100 worth of weight token to 3 different people.
$100 today.
Right, today.
Months, in a year.
So it could go down, it could go up. Okay. So I'm pumped about that. So that just adds more winners. I'm going to be giving away mythic / and or legendary pets and heroes from DeFi Kingdoms, baby. In that giveaway, there's going to be over 30 winners there.
Now, tell me about your conviction, because I find interesting. You're not getting paid to do these giveaways. You're giving them away from the out of the kindness of your heart, basically. Why would you do that? I mean, that's an honest question.
It's a win. So I'm bringing other communities together. It couldn't have worked out more perfect. So my goal, my hope, was that he didn't even know I was doing this giveaway. But I thought, I just couldn't sleep one night and was like, because of this idea, I could do a giveaway tagging Bit Shaman and promoting him and giving him love and attention, okay, which is good for him. He wins. While at the same time promoting Dragon's Crossing, okay, with the hopes that he would even potentially promote this giveaway himself. And in the process, guess what I did? We gave DeFi Kingdoms a shout out. for the giveaway of heroes and pets. We gave the weight token a shout out. And guess what happened? Jet retweeted it today. I never asked him to. Jet retweeted it. Okay. And so as soon as he retweeted that, so even selfishly speaking, what's happened? I've gained followers. That's what took me over the 1,000 subscribers last night. Okay, so I was stuck, it's so hard to add, as you know, like adding 10 subs. Like when I brought Crypto Lifer on, who's got 40,000 subscribers, he shouts me out all the time on his YouTube channel. I was on his YouTube channel. Thousands of people saw the video when we were in Miami. Okay, and every time he does a video, he gets like 3, 4, 5, 6, 8,000 views per video every single day. Without fail, per video, sometimes multiple videos. Okay. And so you would think, he came on the channel, he tweeted it out, giving me love. He's talked about me on his channel. I gained like 10 to 20 subs. And I was like, huh.
But that's all it takes, 10 and 20 subs. I mean, really.
That's right. But you got to think about it. That's 10 to 20 real life human beings. It's a lot of people. So like when we get a video, and just imagine speaking in front of 100 or 200 people. That's like an auditorium.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And the way I think about it for someone like you, right? 1,000 subs in the bear market, that's easy. What, 2, 3, 4, 5 time fold during the bull.
Right. And so here's how this works. Is that you have to grind. It's a grind. It's a grind. So a lot of his subscribers have probably heard of me and like me and they're cool, but they haven't taken the time to come to my channel yet. But if I keep grinding and they keep hearing about this Crypto Grady guy, and this month, by the way, I'm going to go on his channel. Okay. For example, and just because I'm giving him value. I'm shouting him out. I'm giving him love. Even though that's totally my thing. I'm not a trader. It's but I just like him. But even with his faults, there's things he says that I disagree with. Okay. But it's cool. I like him as a human being and I like his grind and his style. And there's so many awesome things to get out of watching Crypto Lifer. And I watch him as much as I can. I'm always super chatting him. I'm loving on him. I'm commenting. I'm liking, bell button. And I'm giving them shout outs as much as I can, just like I do with anybody. Okay. And so you add value by doing that. And then what goes around comes around. Then it comes back to me. So I got those 10 subscribers. I bet I've gotten 10 more since. Okay. And that's actually a win. I brought on Crypto Clay. I promoted him and he got a few subs from that. And I got a few subs from him. And it's good, solid dude, core values. Good dude. So I bring on dudes that I like, that I can support.
I gotta take notes and lessons from Grady here. I think talking to Christian, I need to be better about marketing myself. Back to Dragon's Crossing. Just a quick question here.
Yeah.
I feel the urge to not just have the A1 Genesis hero. I want the badge. Am I crazy?
The badge. What's the badge?
The badge. I want a warrior. I want a mage,
I want them all.
I want them all.
I want all 6 of them. I want both of the sexes.
Right.
Yes. Because it's just,
as far as the gameplay, I mean, I don't know, what character are you playing right now?
I've got them all now because we'll summon the shards. I'll show you what it looks like. The first summon I ever did, I got a mythic female warrior, I think.
And so, Brown Jensen, the chat, before he freaks out, we're not doing that live. We're gonna wait to open any shards. But what I will ask, I mean, what's been your favorite hero so far? I mean, you've played them all.
I still haven't really wrapped my mind around it enough to tell you that. But if I would have to say the warrior, because that's just more my style, like brute force, hit. Now the sage and I like the ranger for sure too. The sage is going to be more like the strategy behind it. So there's also an aspect of the game that I haven't even tried yet, which is like the charisma side of it, like where you can forget what it's called in the game. And so I'm going to be exploring all of that as well. I didn't have a sage for a while. And so, and I haven't, just to be clear again, I haven't been able to play a whole bunch. So hopefully tomorrow, we were maybe going to today do a video, but Kong, you know, we're going to do it, all three of us, so we can at least navigate through it as if, I mean, basically this is the real deal. We're just like any one of you guys, just jumping in and playing and learning, except we've done it a few times. So we know what kind of where to go and how to do things. So we'll be able to point things out. And they've updated our version of the game some more. So I'm pumped for that. But back, I'm still answering some of your questions. Okay.
Oh man, and I've got lots of questions.
I know.
Let me hear 'em.
Because even circling back, okay, to the core values of the team and my decision to join, okay, was a long drawn out decision. And so that's what it comes down to. It's like everything that I'm always looking for in a crypto project, in the most extreme to a fault type of way, where the team is being as legit as humanly possible. They're giving me freedom to do my thing, and they value that. Okay. And they're pumped to let me show the world and help bring new people on. Okay. And add value that way. And then what goes around comes around. So it's just a win. The community wins, the game wins, I win, everybody wins.
I have to tell you this. It's sort of ironic. You said there's a charisma aspect to the game you've not yet sort of toyed around with.
Right.
But boy,
where you like charm,
are
you do something like charm your enemy. That's
the irony is. The irony is you do that in real life. You're charisma, baby.
But see, I'm such like a straightforward, honest to a fault kind of guy. I don't ever have like some angle that I'm trying to take with some agenda to play games. You know, so of course, by doing what I did for Bit Shaman, for example, and to answer that question, giving away DeFi Kingdoms Heroes, it's still going to benefit me. So I'm going to win in that scenario still. If all this works out, okay, and hey, dogs, Shorty, okay, so I've got the dogs still. The kids
Dragon Tails, put that in a video, please.
Yes. So Shorty, no. Okay, so they're in the trash. Okay. So by doing all this, I win, because in the end, I'm getting subscribers, I'm building, but then by me getting more subscribers, guess who wins? The community wins. DeFi Kingdoms wins. And whatever project I believe in wins, because it just gives me more exposure. But the real motivation behind that isn't just to get new subscribers. It's because I like Bit Shaman, and he took the time to come on my channel and love on little old me. And we click, we connect. He called me today. I talked to him on the phone. It was wild.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I have fun. Just I'm supporting his channel. I'm growing his YouTube channel, which he doesn't put any focus towards, but he even gained like a couple hundred Twitter followers, I noticed all of a sudden, like real quick. And I think a lot of it was because of this giveaway. He got some love there. And I gained like so many way more Twitter followers. I've gone from like 600 Twitter followers to well over 1,100 so fast, because I jump in these different Twitter spaces. And then I'm helping Dragons Crossing. DeFi Kingdoms is getting an honorable mention in there. The weight token in the next Crypto Gem TV show, which, by the way, I think DeFi Kingdoms is going to be on that TV show. Okay. So,
And I think they're going to win. I hope I'm right, because then we can make this into a something.
can you imagine? I've got a feeling in my gut that DeFi Kingdoms might actually win the whole freaking TV show. And guess what else is going on? Guess what? I've got Brian D. Evans with 1.1 million followers liking my tweets sometimes. Okay, every once in a while. And now all of a sudden I've built up rapport with George. Okay. And I'm building Brian D. Evans, and it let me come up on his Twitter spaces. And I spoke for a second right there, side by side with him. Guess what Brian and George are doing together? They're starting a weekly show, bringing on new projects that are unknown.
A weekly show.
And I've already hit them, and they're going to criticize. It's going to be kind of like the next Crypto Gym, but it's not a winner and loser. It's like, but they're going to judge it heavily. They're going to judge the tokenomics and the fundamentals of the projects and blah, blah, blah. And so guess what? I hit them up. And because I've built that rapport and relationship. So, and everybody wins. It's just a legit, awesome way of doing business, of growing your brand, or whatever it is you're trying to do, where you first give the other person value. When I'm in these other Twitter spaces, I'm engaging in their project. So like I'm on this Twitter spaces the other day with Bit Shaman, and Bit Shaman gives me a shout out and invites me up. And then I'm talking to this guy that's in charge of the Moon Sama project. It's a parachain of Polkadot. Okay. And he like Bit Shaman brings me up, and I'm just boom, I'm live. I'm talking. I'm not talking about Dragon's Crossing. I'm not talking about DeFi Kingdoms. I'm talking about what he's doing and actually trying to understand what the project's all about. And then actually engaging. And then what happens? He comes alive, right? This Donnie guy comes alive, and he's telling me his vision and all this stuff that's going on with this project. And I just build that rapport. Well, I invited him to come on the channel, 140,000 subscribers. And it's all just giving him value and love. And there was like 300 or 400 people in that Twitter spaces. You know, it's like, and I instantly gained like 10 to 20, followers on Twitter doing that. And so, fun.
People skills 101 for sure, Grady. Let me ask you this. So yes, absolutely. There's something in it for you. Just like anything we do, right? I mean, there's always something in it for us. What's your end game with Dragon's Crossing? I mean, what's your goal for the project? Because you decided to come on, and I know you didn't jump on to say, hey, you know what? Let me do this for me. Because if that was the case, there's many other ways you could have gone about it. I mean, what's your goal with just being involved, and what do you want the project to sort of get out of having a Grady?
It's the same goal I have with DeFi Kingdoms. It's the same goal I have with any other gem out there that I love and believe in and support. Okay, it's to bring awareness and adoption to the project, and then help bring new people into the game and show them how to play it, to be a conduit, to be a lot of the things we want to see in other projects. Like, okay, so for example, this is part of my vision with DeFi Kingdoms, which they already do. Like, they're doing their weekly AMAs, and it's phenomenal. Like, you don't see that almost ever at any project at all in all of crypto. That was one of my biggest reasons why I fell in love with the project. Phenomenal transparency and things, but just there's so many things. 1 hour a week's not enough. There's so many things. Just, okay, like for the longest time, we thought stats unknown mattered. Well, when it was brought up in the AMA finally, and which rubbed Sir Starbuck, the wrong way. Okay. Hubert's response was like, oh no, we talked about that like a year ago. We said that just wasn't going to matter. Well, we didn't know that. Like, so we missed that. So that was like there's so many things like that. I could literally do hours upon hours upon hours of AMA sessions with the team on so many different levels. Okay. And so, but comparatively, it's like they do their best. They're doing their best. And there's a line.
It's a different game. It's a different game.
It's a different animal. It's like they're in a totally different place. And so they have to be careful even what they leak. They have to be careful even talking about things like what I'm talking about, okay, is like, for example, adoption of the game comes, the game's fun, okay? Talking about things like the supply of tiers, the supply of eggs, the demand, that is there going to be a demand for pets? Is there going to be this real demand for tiers or pets or not? I can do that. I can get on there and talk about that. Okay. They have to be careful with that because it will complete the whole market hinges on their every word. It's like, so it's different. They're just in a different boat. Okay. So there's so many things that I would love to be able to sit down and just have some real talks through things like with the team, the inner workings of the team and things like that. Okay. And so, whereas as much as possible, I want to be that conduit for the community for Dragons Crossing, where people can approach on a regular basis. They don't have to worry about, waiting for the next week and hoping their question gets answered and then waiting a month before it does. And then it's still not clear. You can't push back and ask for clarification. Like, for example, Hubert said this week, about a mythic bonus given 50%, and then another myth. And then on a mythic pet, he was talking about a 3-star pet. And then on top of that, the mythic pet given a 20% additional bonus. And it was like so unclear. It's like, wait, we need clarification here. Well, you can't do that. So there needs to be so much more clarification. There's so many people in the community that, would love to have that, more of that. That's part of my why. I want to bring on new users. To answer your question, bring on new users and be that conduit for the community to all the more dig their roots deep into the ecosystem and stay long-term, to be all in on the game. Dig my roots deep. That's how I roll. It's like, so even with my relationship with Bit Shaman, for example, I didn't shill anything for the first 2 or 3 or 4 times. I was on his Twitter spaces and everything, brought him on the show, but I still had a chance to talk about DeFi Kingdoms and Dragons Crossing. So the seed was planted, but it went in one ear and out the other. He's got 50 projects he's looking at. It's like, okay, but as time goes on, he's going to keep hearing about Dragons Crossing. He's going to keep hearing about DeFi Kingdoms.
And it's interesting you call that out, because I know going back to where we started with hey, you and I had conversations about whether or not what my opinion was about you joining the project and my 2 cents.
Yeah,
I had a long conversation with my wife, my family, and saying, hey, you know what, I don't know whether or not I want to be covering a different project. I got into streaming because I was very much in love with DFK and what they were about, but the more I thought about it, it was such a tremendous opportunity to be on the flip side. I mentioned Flu said something to the effect of, "Hey, you know what? You're investing in a team, not not the project necessarily." There was something else you said before the team was doxed. DFK was doxed to the community. Something to the effect of, "Well, I know the team. I've gotten to know them. I've gotten to interact with them. I love them." And something to the effect of, to me that's enough. It really doesn't matter what you necessarily think. I know them. I vetted them. They're good on my. They're good for me. And as a listener, I thought, hey, you know what? Yes, that works for him. But for me, who doesn't have that luxury of having known the team, who doesn't have the luxury of knowing them intimately enough to make a sort of educated opinion on whether or not that team was worthy of sort of investing in. I thought I came into it from that perspective of, hey, you know what? I've gotten to know Grady. I've gotten to know Brown Gent.
Right.
I've spoken to Metas. I've spoken to Samich. I know them, but others don't. And I've got some questions for them. And I want to sort of at the core, talking about our core convictions, what we do, values. At the core of it for me is 1, yes, the community, but 2, sort of educating myself. And by through that, maybe educating others as well. Maybe there's some questions on that others may have. Maybe people are on the fence too, and hopefully this conversation helped them, sway them maybe a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
I say that all to say, to your point, Grady, it's not a decision you made lightly. It's not one I made
Yep.
lightly. Whether or not I continue to cover DCX, I'm excited. Brown Gen says I'm not crazy. That me wanting every Genesis hero is an appropriate sort of thing to want. But to you, going back to sort of what we were chatting about, Grady. What's that one thing? Because I don't know that I got an answer to this. What's the one thing that sold you on? You weren't you were unsure, you were on the fence, but then you woke up one day and you said, "Hey, you know what? I'm jumping on the team."
The core values of the team, and that they value what I have to offer. So there's cohesion. So it will work.
Yeah.
Because I could believe in their core values and believe in the project and promote it all day long, but if they're not on the same page and value what I have to bring them, like, it's not a job. It will never work for this to be a job for me. So it's like, I'll just have to say, sorry, I love you guys. I'm still going to promote the fire out of you guys. I believe in you guys, but I got to like step out and of being on the team, and then I'll just be a promoter of you guys. If it's like, if they're like a slave master cracking a whip, telling me what to do like it's a job. So they have to believe in me and trust me that I'm such a conviction driven guy. Just look what I've done for DeFi Kingdoms. What was my incentive for that? Like I've like endlessly, shouting them out all the time, to doing super chatting, all these different influencers, spreading the love about DeFi Kingdoms, doing regular videos about DeFi Kingdoms. Okay. That was purely out of conviction,
Oh yeah.
for the project, and because I believe in them, and this is what I do. And so if they don't get that and see that in me, it just won't work. But when I started believing that they do, and they actually value that, and they want me on, I already knew that the core values were there. I didn't wrap my mind around the game yet. So that was like part of the hesitation too, because I'm not a gamer. I don't even know his lingo when he's talking about it. Like there's 5 tiles, for example. I had to even, what is he even talking about?
Yeah, what's tile?
Or whatever. The RPG game, it's a standard, like RPG. Like, what does RPG mean? What is like, so, but I just know that these guys are very advanced, high IQ, brilliant people. They're not going to come out with a shitty game that's not fun to play. Otherwise, they're wrecked. Okay. They literally make $0 and 0 cents. And if that's the case, I was willing to take that risk because I love them. I mean, like, Sandwich Punch is like family. And so when you see that, it's like ride or die, I jumped on the team, not fully wrapping my mind around the game yet, just because I knew their core values, their why, and I'm willing to take a bet on that. And if the game turns out not being fun and the project flops, it's all good, because it's not like it was a cash grab, a money grab. My conscience is clear, and I'll move forward.
No, and like you, I mean, I mentioned it earlier. It was one of those things where the team earned my attention. I was intrigued. I don't yet have a grasp for that, what that game looks like, and I know you're going to demo that here shortly, and maybe the coming weeks, coming days. But based on what I've heard Bloater say, what I've heard the team say, I'm sold on the idea, and I'm sold on the team. I'm reeled in. I'm interested.
Yeah.
To your point, like I said, whether or not I continue to cover, whether or not I continue to be interested, it all depends, right? But I'm sold. I'm there. And I look forward to more content from you and others as well. Tremendous kudos to BG, who's in chat, to you to Doug for driving the sort of level of guerrilla style marketing. It's been impressive. I'm impressed with what you all are doing. Yeah, so kudos in that respect. Maybe we can end with this piece. You've gotten to know the team better than maybe I've gotten to know the team, and maybe better than I will ever get to know the team, just because you've spent more time with them.
Not much though. I have hardly spent any time at all, just so you know.
And that's fair, but the time you have spent,
Little
and
bit.
from what you know of the crew,
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, what's the one thing that sort of, give me a moment in time when you said to yourself, hey, I've made the right decision. You saw something, you heard something, you experienced something, and you said, you know what? Everything I thought about this team is true.
So it's so obvious. It's endless confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. So, and just to be clear, even if the game ends up sucking and the whole project flops, I won't look at it as a mistake at all.
Right.
Because
yeah.
just because, like what I just said, they're like family. And if they're going to go down, I'll go down with them, and it's fine. We'll move on. Okay. So that's when I realized I believe in these guys so much. I love these guys. The core values align. Their why is exactly what I look for in any crypto project that I'm ever out there looking for. And so it's not about, is it a right or wrong decision? The only time I would feel like it was a wrong decision if they were being deceitful, or they were, playing funny games, trying to make a quick buck, if it was like financially driven. Okay. But I know that that's obviously not the case. It's obviously not the case. I loved it when I don't know if you saw, when Flu came on the channel.
I saw, yes.
And I asked him, what caused you to back this project? He said, when I heard Sandwich Punch was in, I didn't have to hear another word. I was in. And I love it. It's like confirmation central right there.
And it's the same thing for me. No, I appreciate Grady. I look forward to more chats. I know you'll do these often. I'm pumped for your videos as far as gameplay. And here I think if things continue to go according to plan, by this time next month, if game's not already launched, we're at least closer to game launch. Because I know we don't have a specific day in May, but I'm excited. I look forward to more. I would be remiss if I didn't end the show with that video again. Brown Gent, if you're in chat, if you're listening, you're in for a treat. I'll send you that video because it's so epic. And before I go, just to clear something up, I did say I'd be giving away a whitelist for any comments for those people who weren't able to be here live. I know there's some people who are in Europe or just across the globe, and it's the weekend, what have you. Give me a comment, drop a comment, and in that comment, either give me your Discord ID or your Twitter handle, and let me know what intrigues you the most about Dragon's Crossing. What did you hear maybe Bloater say that sort of drove you, sort of, from being on the fence to, hey, you know what, I'm jumping in, or maybe something Grady said that sort of resonated with you. Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already liked this video, subscribe, consider that. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time. And again, Grady, let's play that video.
And everyone's been telling me like, Grady, you got to be more professional. We cannot call Workhorse by his previous name. It's not going to be received well. They're even threatening to like kick me out of here. All right. And so my response to that was,
baby. Like, we're going to be going to YouTube and doing a stream in a second. So, like, a bunch of those people are probably in the chats right now. Goose gang in the house.
That's right.
Gang in the house. Gang in the house. Gang in the house. Gang in the house. Gang in the house.
Baby!
Gang in the house. Gang in the house.
Baby! Yes!
Gang in the house.